Welcome back to Northwest News. In this week's edition, we covered Tri Sigma's Karen Hawkins Week.
Thanks for tuning in to Northwest News, the show where we provide the latest coverage on the Northwest Missouri State University campus and in the Maryville community. I'm Katie Bird.
And I'm Shelby Singleton. Before we get into this week's episode, be sure to hit that notification bell for the latest news coverage as well as other KNWT content.
On Thursday, March 21st, I had the privilege to attend the Visiting Writers Series held in the J.W. Jones Student Union. There, 2 university faculty members read excerpts from books they recently published, as well as answered questions from the crowd. Follow me as I take us there. On Thursday evening, March 21st, the Visiting Writers Series took place in the J.W. Jones Student Union living room. This event usually brings in outside talent, but this time, Northwest had 2 of its very own published authors and faculty members read excerpts from their recent books. Luke Rolfs was one of the 2 professors presenting. He gave me the rundown of the writing department's events.
So we generally bring in a couple regional writers and a couple national writers every year. We try to vary it up, some poets, some fiction writers, some prose writers, some creative nonfiction writers. One of the coolest things we do from our department on campus for sure is, we get these like really high caliber writers in, and they're generally, we target writers who are very nice, who want to interact with the students, and oftentimes they like befriend them on social media and stuff like that and get to have like actual conversations with writers.
I was also able to speak with John Gallagher. He told me about his newly released poetry book that he read excerpts from at the event. He also spoke on why students should attend events like these.
My new book is entitled My Life in Brutalist Architecture. It is a book. It's a book-length sequence of poems that are nonfiction memoir about the adoption. I was adopted when I was 3. It's about my adoption journey and my journey through DNA and Ancestry.com, finding my birth mother and my birth family. And there are so many different things going on, always everything competing for our time, and it's so easy to skip things like music recitals or creative writing, a poet or a fiction writer, because it just might sound like you're outside of someone's comfort zone, or I don't know what that would be like. You owe it to yourself to go to some of these events. Not all of them, but just give one a try.
There are more creative writing events coming up before the end of the semester. For more information, visit nwmissouri.edu/events. Reporting for Northwest News, I'm Katie Bird.
The Visiting Writers Series will continue on Tuesday, April 9th with Maya Angelou, award-winning Taylor Boss, as well as with poets Hadrea Bar-Nava and Kevin Perferer on Tuesday, April 16th. Be sure to check them out in the Student Union. Now stick with us as we take you through this week's highlight of the Missourian as reported by Assistant News Editor Dakota Oswalt.
In a report by the Centers of Disease Control and Prevention, it's revealed that unintentional accidents rank as the 4th leading cause of death in the United States, highlighting the critical need for firearm safety.
According to the Educational Fund to Stop Gun Violence, nearly 500 people lose their lives due to accidental shootings annually in the United States, with 37% of non-fatal firearm shootings categorized as accidental.
The EFSGV identifies common causes of unintentional shooting deaths, including mishandling firearms during play, mistaking loaded guns for unloaded ones, and hunting accidents. On top of that, improper storage of firearms significantly raises the risk of unintentional firearm deaths.
Detective Sergeant Ryan Gilden of the Maryville Police Department raises the importance of firearm safety education across all age groups. Gilden emphasizes the significance of proper gun storage and education in preventing accidental shootings.
Gilden suggests keeping firearms securely locked and, depending on usage, unloaded. While the police department doesn't offer firearm education courses, Gilden noted that some local gun ranges have conducted safety classes in the past, offering tips to the community.
He urges individuals to familiarize themselves with proper firearm training and safety guidelines to mitigate potential risks and prevent dangerous situations. For more on these short stories, be sure to check out NWMissouri.com or pick up a newspaper out of the boxes on campus.
When we come back, reporter Libby Ehlers takes us to Tri Sigma Karen Hawkins Week and more. You're watching Northwest News.
KNWT for Hire is all about sharing a story, a message, and connecting the community. We cover a multitude of events, both within the university and Maryville. We roll in, we set up, and we capture. We're here to offer an experience, not only for those present, but for all.
Northwest Tower Yearbook has dedicated over a century to documenting life on campus and in the Maryville community. The award-winning organization has numerous Pacemaker Awards and a spot in the Associated Collegiate Press Hall of Fame. Learn more about Tower at the handles below.
Thank you for sticking with us and welcome back to Northwest News. Follow us as we take a deeper dive into another Northwest Missourian highlight as reported by news reporter Anna Bailey.
Students at the Northwest Technical School have embarked on a project aimed at bettering Mozingo Lake Recreation Park, following the approval by the Maryville City Council back in August.
With the support of a $310,000 community betterment grant awarded in August, construction of a visitor center at Mozingo Lake Recreation Park has started. With the help of Northwest Technical School building trades instructor Jay Drake, students have been actively involved in the project since the beginning of the school year.
Drake highlights the hands-on experience this project offers, citing that students have completed a significant portion, around 90 to 95% of it, at the work job site.
Currently, Mozingo Lake Recreation Park works out of an information booth, which offers park-related information, concessions, and boating passes. However, Jordan Greenhaw, director of Mozingo Lake Recreation Park, highlights the limitations this might bring.
Greenhaw hopes that the visitor center will provide a necessary expansion that caters to various needs while enhancing visitors' experience at the park.
Once completed, the visitor center will serve as a primary location for park-related information and activities at Mozingo Lake Recreation Park, featuring a visitors' retail area.
For more on these stories, check out NWMissouriNews.com or pick up a paper out of the boxes on campus.
Next, reporter Libby Ehlers brings us to one of the 5 events hosted throughout the week by the sorority Sigma Sigma Sigma, also known as Tri-Sig. This week, commemoration is dedicated to the memory of one of their sisters, Karen Hawkins, whose life was tragically cut short 27 years ago. The event aims to raise awareness about sexual assault as well as to educate the student body. Libby takes us to the heart of the action.
The sorority Sigma Sigma Sigma, also known as Tri Sigma, honored their late sister Karen Hawkins this past week as they hosted a series of events for their Karen Hawkins Memorial Week. In partnership with the Northwest Missouri State University Police Department, Tri Sigma held a self-defense class open to the student body in order to learn how to better protect themselves in the face of danger. Karen Hawkins, a Maryville native, was sexually assaulted and killed over 25 years ago by a man she had known since high school. Since her death, her sorority has continued to honor her life by educating the public on the reality of sexual assault and violence. I had the opportunity to speak with Catherine Brooks, the philanthropy manager for Tri Sigma, to hear about her experience in putting together the Memorial Week activities, while also learning about the different ways Tri Sigma gives back to sexual violence victims.
Karen Hawkins Week is a week where we honor Karen Hawkins, who was one of our sisters in the 90s. She was from Maryville originally, and she was in Tri Sigma and a student at Northwest, and she was sexually assaulted and killed by a man that she had known since high school, and so this week is just to honor her and pay memory to her and keep her legacy alive. So we have a whole week of events this week. Monday we had a presentation given by the detective who worked on Karen's case in the 90s, Randy Strong. And then on Thursday evening, we have a silent memorial walk. Monday through Wednesday, we also have it's called Cocoa for Karen. It's a hot chocolate booth in the Union. Then we donate the proceeds to North Star, which is a women's shelter in Maryville.
Following the class, I also spoke to Rachel Hunter, the president of the sorority, in order to gather more information on her personal experience with Karen Hawkins Week and the impact it has had on her time as a member.
I think every time that we tell the story, at least like locals, they know and they resonate with it and they remember her, and it's important to keep her memory alive for the first thing, but it's also knowing that Maryville feels like this safe and small and tiny community, but it also reminds us that things can happen anywhere. Yes, it's about her passing, but we also are trying to keep her memory alive, and that always warms my heart.
For supplemental information regarding the case of Karen Hawkins, please refer to the Northwest Missouri State University website, reach out to a member of the Tri Sigma sorority, and check out Tri Sigma's social media at @trisigma_NWMSU. Reporting for Northwest News, this is Libby Ehlers.
If you or someone you know finds it difficult to speak out against sexual assault, Northwest Missouri State University offers a plethora of resources to support survivors, such as counseling services and anonymous reporting channels. The school stands ready to provide assistance to those in need. Don't suffer in silence. Reach out and access the help that's available to you. Your voice matters, and your community stands with you in solidarity against sexual violence.
Stick with us through the commercial break, because when we come back, I take you to the Women's Leadership Summit here on campus. You're watching Northwest News.
Counselor from Lafayette and St. Joe.
We also want to hear from you guys, so leave a...
I'm your host, Barrett Bevins.
It's not.
So these are his
Right side pass finds Waters. A three-pointer on the way. Good.
Life happens in an instant. Let us help you be a part of it. Live for you to enjoy.
Welcome back to Northwest News, the place where you can find news and whereabouts on what's happening in the Northwest and Maryville community.
The Northwest Women's Leadership Summit, Inspire, Connect, and Empower, took place on Wednesday, March 20th in the Student Union. The purpose of the Women's Leadership Summit was to bring women who are in leadership roles or aspire to become leaders together and empower them through valuable opportunities for women to grow personally and professionally. I was able to attend the luncheon and Women's Leadership Awards, as well as the Women's Leadership Panel. In honor of National Women's History Month, the Office of Diversity and Inclusion held the Northwest Women's Leadership Summit, which was an all-day event recognizing women in leadership roles or those that aspire to become leaders.
The Women's Leadership Summit that we have today was a way for us to connect other women leaders, our student leaders, community, to other women, and talk about empowerment, talk about other issues, concerns, and give some advice to women in their professional careers and personal careers at the same time. Today is an entire summit for a full day of activities. So we had learning sessions or concurrent sessions throughout the morning. We had the leadership and awards panel, the luncheon and awards as a afternoon program leadership panel that is going on currently, and then we have a couple of more learning sessions this afternoon, as well as an art exhibit by a Northwest alum who is an artist.
Dr. Karen Kassebaum was the keynote speaker for the Women's Leadership Summit. Dr. Kassebaum is the founder of Athlete to Athlete and currently serves as the inaugural Global Inclusion Lead at Huddle. I had the opportunity to speak with Dr. Kassebaum about what she wanted others to take away from her speech.
I really wanted people to think about the 4 principles that I shared, about having a global growth mindset, practicing inclusion daily, fostering a community of belonging and culture, and so being inclusive in that, and then also being inclusive leaders. So I really wanted them to take away that they need to do the action themselves versus thinking it's going to happen by osmosis, but taking steps to be more inclusive individuals. Because I truly believe that that could help change our world if all of us did our part in relation to being more inclusive. I was very honored because I had the pleasure of having Dr. Jessie Peter. She was one of my graduate assistants when I worked at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. So I had the pleasure of working with her and working on inclusive initiatives. So I was very honored. And then my relationship with Dr. Shay Malone. I worked with her at the University of South Carolina, where I created an Inclusive Excellence Institute. So it was really good to just see my people and give back, right? So I was very excited.
For the stories that matter to you, I'm Shelby Singleton, reporting for Northwest News.
In their latest event, the Office of Diversity and Inclusion at Northwest Missouri State University shed light on the stories and struggles of underrepresented groups with dedication to inclusivity and equity. Be on the lookout as they are always holding these types of events.
Well, that's all the time we have for Northwest News. Be sure to go to the description below to rewatch certain sections of our show.
And be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for all of the latest news and updates. This has been Northwest News. Thank you for watching.